So the world is now dealing with the fallout and blowback from Trump's attacks on Iran. I want to give you the latest, and let's just jump right in. These are the headlines right now. Iran missiles slam into Israel as huge explosions rock Tehran, and unfortunately, the fighting is still ongoing between Israel and Iran. And now USA has jumped into this, attacked Iran directly, and we're waiting to see if Iran's going to retaliate against US assets in the Middle East. We also have this as affecting shipping lanes. This was interesting, just came out minutes ago. Tankers reversing course from Strait of Hormuz following U.S. attack on Iran nuclear sites. And I'm sure you guys know this. Many countries depend on oil from the Middle East. Honestly, I feel like we're living in the movie Dune. If you haven't seen this movie, you should definitely check it out. It's just basically all about the spice flowing, or you could say the oil flowing. And there's a couple of interesting caveats about this, which I wanted to read with you guys, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. It says, more tankers reversing course away from the Strait of Hormuz as concerns rise on a possible closure of vital choke point of trade. So would the Iran close the routes there? Would there be some sort of, attacks from various groups? And then also, is there some sort of jamming going on? This is interesting coming from the UK. It says reports by the UK maritime trade operations on widespread electronic interference and GPS jamming as location spoofing are adding to vessel owners' worries. So even if there's, say, no missile attacks or explosions, things like that, you can like screw with people's navigation. And these tankers, I'm sure you guys know, are worth quite a lot of money. There's a lot of basically oil flowing through. And we're going to see how the world responds to this one. So that was new to me, that hearing this just minutes ago. Again, tankers are reversing course. And I want to go over some of your comments. This is coming in from Rob, talking about, again, the aftermath of Trump's attack. Rob says, if the Iranian radioactive materials had been destroyed, they would have dispersed into the environment and become a terrible health hazard in the region. This is why bombing nuclear facilities is illegal, incredibly dangerous, and irresponsible. It would also produce a detectable radioactive signal. The IAEA have not found such signal, which means the Iranians have either already moved whatever was down there, or the strike did not work. Very good point, Rob. I do appreciate you pointing that out. And I think that's a good thing to look for, right? So I did some digging. It says Israel's strike on Iran causing radioactive contamination. That's from the IAEA. They were talking about how much damage was actually done. So we know they hit some sort of entrances. I told you guys it was like the shaft. It feels like, we're in a movie, either Star Wars or Top Gun Maverick kind of thing. It's that kind of plot. But yeah, since we don't have any radioactivity yet, now it has been reported, so we'll wait, because there may be reports of that coming out, but maybe the uranium was moved. Maybe the damage isn't as big as we thought, but who knows? This is also want to give you the latest. This just came out also. IAEA. So what they're saying U.S. bombing probably caused very significant damage. Now, will we get the truth in this? Give it some time. But they also noted that at this time, no one, including the IAEA, is in a position to have fully assessed the underground damage at Fordow. So, that's sort of the word. And I think the radioactivity one is a really good thing to watch to determine, again, was the site actually destroyed? It is underground. Or is possibly the uranium moved? So, because you could have one or the other, right? Or theoretically both. Also, I want to mention this. If you haven't seen my blog, please check it out. It's over on Substack. I just wrote a piece. I was just thinking about this today before making this video. Why is there always money for more war? And the basic gist of it is like, if you look at the cost of the war in Iraq or the war in Afghanistan, and now we're looking at possible, sustained war with Iran. I mean, instead of doing that kind of thing, we could have just offered free tuition at trade schools and universities. And for real, it's like a couple decades worth. And we're talking about some serious cash that war costs. It is a lot of money when you look at all the costs of it. So you can check out my essay and just, thoughts on that. But this is what we have to deal with in USA is, Trump and the Republicans are trying to pass their big, beautiful bill. It's basically, hey, how can we cut things that regular Americans need, and hey, how can we get more tanks, bombers, etc.? And I completely understand, guys. I grew up in USA. I know how it is. Right now, probably on US media, depending on which outlet, they're talking about, hey, how big is our bomb, and how many more bombs can we send over there, and how destructive are we, and wow, it's so awesome, and they're going to marvel at all the military stuff. And I just want to change the topic, change the framing, and thinking like, reverse it and be like, God, that was a big waste of US tax dollars. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And this honestly just feels like WMD2. If you lived through the Iraq War, remember this, they just kept telling you, boo, 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 right? Iraq's going to come attack you today, that kind of stuff. But this is an honest question for people who are MAGA out there or, right-leaning. This is an honest question. Has Iran attacked Kentucky? Has Iran attacked Indiana? Has Iran attacked Georgia? Please let me know in the comments if these things have happened. Do you think Iran's really going to hit Kentucky? Do you think you're really in danger from these kind of things? And again, a lot of this stuff is just that the Trump people put out there is basically just to scare you, just perfectly frank. Iran, in my opinion, and I don't think it's a pretty hard opinion to take, poses no threat to Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, North Dakota, whatever. You're perfectly fine. Iran's not going to come get you. Maybe you saw the movie Red Dawn and you're just really worried about paratroopers coming to your house. But I did see that movie and I knew it was just a movie. It's just for fantasy. No one's really going to come parachute your house. So there's that. On top of that, and if you guys know the movie Red Dawn, there's two versions. The first one's much better than the second. This is also the headlines here. How a cornered Iran could wreak havoc on global oil trade. So this is where it actually will have an effect on you, what Trump is up to if trade slows. There's the strait there, the Strait of Hormuz, and I was talking about before how many ships go through there, many countries rely on it right here. This is another, you could say diagram or satellite imagery of it, how you want to say it, but a lot of ships go through in and out of there, and there's like really, really narrow spot. If navigations get screwed up, and these kind of things, they don't turn on a dime, right? These big tankers. If Iran were to shut this stuff down, be it a couple hours, be it a couple days or whatever, JP Morgan, this is according to Bloomberg they were reporting that the fueling global inflation would, weigh heavily by almost 70%. So, geez, that would be a crazy spike in crude prices. I already saw headlines saying maybe over $100 a barrel kind of stuff. So this is what we're waiting for, right? So there's, any number of things. It doesn't have to be missile attack directly. I think the jamming thing is actually pretty legit. Could be a major problem. That's why the ships are turning back, because it's not worth the risk. And then, you're getting a lot of countries that are like, hey, USA, Iran, Iraq, Israel, right? Or not Iraq, but Israel, cut it out, right? Stop the fighting. We just want business as usual. Asia is heavily dependent on this stuff, be it China, India. I'm hearing Korea or Japan need oil from over there. This has been in our news here in Korea. And this is where it affects, regular people's lives, right? You go to the pump and you're like, great, gas prices are up again, right? That's exactly what I want is a war in the Middle East. And I'm being sarcastic, but this is how it fits, regular people's lives. And I know they try to scare you again. You're going to get attacked in Kentucky by Iran, boo, right? That's kind of stuff. But I just want to point out, are you really going to get attacked in Kentucky? Is it really going to happen? And if you really just sit down and think of it that way, no, it's not. But you may get attacked at the fuel pump. Thank you, Trump. On top of that, I want to read another comment from you guys. This is from Michael. Michael says, maybe the best thing I got from going to college was the opportunity to meet people from other states and other countries. I came from a very small town in one of the poorest counties in North Carolina. My world was so small. Going to college gave me the opportunity to see exactly what you are saying. We are all basically the same. We may have slightly different customs, but when it comes to things that matter, we all want the same things. I guess the downside is that I could not move back to that small world. And I do appreciate mentioning this, Michael. It's something I talk quite a bit on the channel. I know we make jokes and this kind of stuff, but in all seriousness, guys, pretty much all of us around the world are roughly the same. And for those of you who travel, you know exactly what I'm talking about when you go and you travel, like, wow, we're talking about FIFA or, we're talking about NBA or whatever. Like you'll be shocked that people watch sports just like you. People watch literally the same movies that you watch. You'll be surprised that people listen to the same music that you listen to. Like you'll be surprised like how similar a lot of us are. And you also might be shocked of like, oh my God, dishes around the world, food is pretty great. It's pretty great to be able to have different types of food and just, I just can't stress enough. It is something that is really, I could say, healing or needed in the world when you make friends from people from other places and you just realize we're not that different. And in fact, being different is kind of fun because you get a whole other world to explore. And yes, you don't just have to go to college. You can do any number of things again to expose yourself to other types of people. And I think one of the best things that I was thinking about Instead of, bringing fists every time that you meet someone, bring open hands and handshakes, and that's a good way to live life. So that's my thoughts on this stuff. That's the concerns. Will Iran strike back at USA? What's going on with the shipping lanes? How are markets reacting? That's what we're talking about this week. I do appreciate your time, and I'll catch you on the next video.